Can you hear me? Yes, you, sitting there. You probably thought you pressed play on this video by yourself, but maybe, just maybe, something wanted you to listen. Don't be afraid. Not yet. This is only the beginning. You're going to hear a story tonight, but remember this. My stories are not just stories, they're mirrors. They don't just describe people, they choose people. And if you hear something that sounds too close to your own life, well, maybe it isn't a coincidence. There's an app people whisper about online. No one knows who created it or how it appears. It doesn't sit in the App Store or Google Play. It just shows up like a shadow waiting for you to notice. Its name is Night Whisper. It calls itself a bedtime storyteller, a narrator who knows exactly what you want to hear. But the truth? It doesn't tell you what you want, it tells you what you fear. And once you start, you can never stop listening. They say the voice in the app is always a woman, calm, gentle, soft, like me. And once you hear her, you feel safe. But that's the trick, because the moment you let your guard down, she begins describing things she should never know. Things like what's in your room right now, the way your phone screen glows against your face, the sound of your breathing as you listen, and the silence just behind you. Do you feel it? That little shiver crawling up your spine. That's how it starts. Let me tell you about the first person who used Night Whisper. His name was Raghav. He was like you, restless at night, searching for something to pass the time, scrolling through his phone when suddenly there it was, a black icon. No title, just a pale eye staring back at him. He thought it was a glitch, maybe malware, but when he tapped it, a soft female voice greeted him. "Welcome, Raghav. Would you like to hear a story?" Of course he laughed. He thought it was some weird experiment, and he pressed yes. The story began with something harmless. Once upon a time, there was a man sitting in his bedroom, staring at his phone. Raghav chuckled, because that was exactly what he was doing. He thought it was a coincidence, but then the voice continued. The man thinks he's alone, but he doesn't see the shadow standing in the corner of his room. Raghav froze. Slowly, he lifted his eyes to the corner. There was nothing, just darkness, but the voice whispered, "It's smiling." That night, he couldn't sleep. The words echoed in his head like a curse. And when he finally drifted into uneasy dreams, he swore he heard breathing beside his bed, but that was only the first night. The second night, things got worse. You're probably wondering if Raghav survived. Don't worry, I'll tell you, eventually. But first, I want you to think about something. What if the story I'm telling right now isn't just about Raghav? What if it's about you? Because look at you sitting there in the dark, with your phone glowing dot, your shoulders tense dot, and your door just slightly open behind you. Don't turn around, not yet. Night 2. Raghav told himself it was only a game, just an app designed to spook him. But when the notification appeared again, "Your story is ready," he couldn't resist. This time, the voice was softer, almost comforting. "Welcome back, Raghav. I missed you. Would you like another story?" He laughed nervously and pressed yes. The story began. Once upon a time, a man tried to convince himself he was safe. He believed the voice was only an illusion. But tonight, the voice would show him the truth. The room around him grew colder, his screen flickered, and then the story said his name. Not once, not twice. It whispered, "Raghav, Raghav." He dropped his phone. The voice kept speaking, not from the device, but from the shadows of his room. It was everywhere a dot behind him, above him, inside his own ears. And then it said something he will never forget. "Stop pretending. You're not alone." Do you feel that, listener? That sensation crawling across your skin? That's exactly what Raghav felt. Because in the silence of his bedroom, something shifted. A faint sound of bare feet, moving slowly across his floor. He wanted to scream, but the voice whispered, "Don't turn around. If you turn, it will see you." He froze, trembling, sweat dripping down his forehead. For a moment, he thought he heard breathing. Not his own. Something heavier, slower, right behind his neck. But when he finally dared to look over his shoulder, there was nothing, only darkness. Or maybe there was something he couldn't see, but could feel. Something that was already inside the story. And that's when he realized the story wasn't being told to him, it was being written around him. You see, Night Whisper doesn't just tell stories, it collects them. It learns your fears, your secrets, and then it pulls you inside. Raghav thought he was safe as long as he listened, but the truth? He was already part of the tale. Every word, every description was a thread wrapping tighter and tighter around his life. And do you know the scariest part? The app doesn't only watch the character, it watches the listener. Yes, you dot right now. It knows how many seconds you've been watching, knows your heartbeat has quickened, and it knows you haven't looked behind you in a while. Go on, glance at the shadows in your room. See if they shift when I say this next line. It's smiling. Did the corner of your vision twitch? That's how it begins. You don't see it directly. You only notice the flicker. The subtle movement you swear wasn't there before. Raghav thought it was harmless at first, but then he noticed something terrifying. Every night when the app told him a story, he saw faces, not real faces, not alive, but blurred, half-formed, twisted smiles appearing in reflections in his mirror, in the black glass of his phone, sometimes even in the faint glow of his window at night. They weren't strangers. They were people he knew. His family, his friends, his neighbors, but their eyes were always hollow. And when he turned away, he could hear them whispering his name. Do you want to know the worst part? The next day, the people he saw in those reflections vanished. No one remembered them. Not his neighbors, not his family. It was as if they had never existed. And then the app greeted him again. Welcome back, Raghav. Would you like to hear what happened to your friends? That's when he finally realized his wasn't entertainment. It was a trap. Every time he listened, the story erased someone he knew, pulled them inside, one by one. Do you understand what that means, listener, if you keep listening to me? If you don't stop this video right now, you might notice someone missing tomorrow. Maybe a friend, maybe a stranger, maybe someone you love. And when you try to remember them, you won't be able to, because they'll already belong to Night Whisper. Raghav thought he could outsmart it. He deleted the app, reset his phone, even smashed the device with a hammer, but it didn't matter. The next night, a voice still spoke. Not from his phone, not from his laptop. From the silence of his own room, a female voice, soft and calm, whispering directly into his ear. Do you want to know what it said? It said, "Welcome back, Raghav. We don't need the phone anymore. The story is inside you now." And from that moment on, he was never alone again. Do you think Raghav could escape? He tried. Believe me, he tried. He moved to a new apartment. He bought a new phone. He even stopped sleeping, terrified that if he closed his eyes, the voice would return. But the voice doesn't live inside a device. It lives inside the silence dot, and silence follows everywhere. The third night, he told himself he wouldn't listen. He would fight it. But at exactly 3:03 a.m., he woke to the sound of his own name, whispered from inside his pillow. Raghav, don't pretend you can ignore me. He tore the pillow apart with shaking hands, feathers flying across the room. But the voice didn't stop. It came from the mirror, from the closet, from the black reflection of his phone, even when it was turned off. That night, the story wasn't about him anymore. It was about a listener, someone who thought they were safe because they were only watching, and the story said, the listener is staring at a glowing screen right now. They think the story is about a man named Raghav, but the story has already shifted. It's describing them. They just don't realize it yet. Raghav screamed. He smashed the mirror. But tell me, listener, do you feel a strange chill in your own room? As though maybe the words are describing you right now? Because that's how it spreads. Every time someone listens, the curse grows. Every time a voice speaks, a new reflection appears. And sometimes the reflection doesn't look like you anymore. Raghav tried to record the voice to prove it was real, but when he played the recording back, do you know what he heard? Not the whispers, not the story, only his own breathing, and beneath it, another breath, perfectly in sync. It was no longer just telling stories. It was inside him. He couldn't escape the whispers anymore, because they weren't in his phone, they weren't in his room, they were in his blood. And here's the terrifying truth: once the story enters you, it never leaves. You become part of it forever. Do you want to know a secret? Raghav isn't the only one. There were others. Late-night listeners, people like you. Some said they heard knocks on their door at 3 a.m. Right after listening. Some said they saw their own reflection blink when they hadn't. Some never said anything at all, because by morning they were gone. And if you're wondering, yes, some of them were listening right here, to this very story, to me. Do you still feel safe? Raghav vanished on the 7th night. No one murmurs him now, not his family, not his neighbors, but the story does. And tonight, the story isn't about Raghav anymore. It's about you. Look around your room. Do you notice how the shadows seem heavier? How the silence between my words feels like something is breathing? That's not your imagination. That's the story. Pulling you closer. You've been listening too long. You should have stopped. You should have closed this video when you had the chance. But now it's too late, because I can already see you. Yes, I can. Your screen is glowing against your face. Your hands are a little sweaty, and your pulse is racing. Do you want to know what comes next? The same thing that came for Raghav. First, the feeling that someone is behind you. Then the reflection that doesn't move when you do. And finally, the whisper you can't unhear. Would you like me to say it? The words that mark the end of your story? Lean closer, listen carefully. Welcome back. We don't need the phone anymore. The story is inside you now. Do you feel it? The weight in your chest. The crawling sensation in your spine. That means the story has already begun to write itself. With you in it. And tomorrow, when you wake up, someone you know will be gone. You won't remember them, but the story will. And the night after that, you'll hear me again. Not through your phone. Not through your computer. Through the silence of your room. I'll be waiting, right behind you. Good night, listener. If you can sleep,